Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I promise it's me. I know usually in my videos I look a little gross, a little grubby. It is still me even though I've showered recently. If you guys saw my last video, you know that I just did a 4-day, 60-mile shakedown hike on the Georgia Loop. And the big part of doing the shakedown was to kind of get to know my gear a little better, test it out, see what works and see what doesn't. And I think it's really cool with backpacking. Everything is so personal to everybody. I want to do some reflecting to see what worked and what didn't. What kinds of things can I learn from this trip besides just having fun on the trail? So without further ado, here are 5 things that I learned during my shakedown trip. Number 1, I learned about sizing up with your rain gear. If you saw that video, you know I ripped my rain pants on the first day of what was intended to be a 5-day trip with 5 days of rain. And when I bought the rain pants, they're Frog Togs, the Frog Tog ultralight 2, I want to say. When I bought the rain pants, I did it based off my actual measurements and their sizing chart. Without thinking about I would be wearing more clothing, I'd have layers underneath. So I bought the rain pants to fit my actual body versus fitting my body with clothes. So when that happened, I was hiking and I did the lady squat to, do number 1 and well, they just fell apart. And luckily someone, a guy at the Hawk Mountain shelter gave me his rain pants because he was finishing up his trip. So I have some new rain pants I can use, but in the future, I will know to size up my rain gear to accommodate for what I'm wearing underneath. First thing I learned is to size up your rain gear. All right, and lesson number 2, this one is a little bit personal, but I saw a trick online. Someone said that part of their camp chores in the evening includes pre-digging their cat hole. And a little TMI, on the trail, I'm a very regular morning pooper. And as part of my camp chores every evening, I would pre-dig my morning cat hole. And it was such a relief. And it made it so much easier in the morning. I didn't have to worry about it because it was cold. I just went, did my business, and came back and started packing up camp. And it was really helpful to pre-dig my cat hole. So, lesson number 2, pre-dig your cat hole if you are a morning pooper. And the third thing I learned during my shakedown is how this single wall tent works. This was my first time taking the Z-Packs duplex out on the trail, besides just in my backyard. And this is also the first time seeing rain. And I think, it's advertised as being super waterproof. So I thought I was good as far as rain was concerned. And actually the first night I flooded out. And I didn't know why. I was trying to figure out what happened. My sleeping pad throughout the night ended up pushing the bathtub floor past the tent wall. So it let in all of that rain and I flooded out. It wasn't too bad, but lots of things did get wet and it was a mess. So I found out, if you guys can see here, there is a little string attachment. I didn't know that that was there and what its purpose was. And it's actually going to attach the bathtub to the tent to prevent it from going past the wall. So that was really cool. I learned how my tent worked and how to keep water from coming in. So that was great. The fourth thing that I learned on my shakedown, and it is somewhat related, is how to dry my gear on trail, things that need to dry out. As I said, I did flood out the very first night, and when that happened, I had my socks drying out. I did have my base layer laid out flat to dry, and all of them got absolutely soaked. And I had seen people online, they said that they just strapped stuff to the side of their pack and let it dry out. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that too. And even though during the times that it wasn't actually raining, I thought, okay, I'll just strap it to the back and it'll dry out, you know? It didn't work out like that, because even though it wasn't actively raining, it was 100% humidity and things did not dry out. So what I tried to do is kind of hang, so my socks got absolutely soaked. I tried to hang it on the back, on the side like this, and it didn't dry out at all. It just collected all of the moisture that was in the air. And it didn't work out. Everything stayed wet. My base layers stayed wet the whole time. My extra pair of socks stayed wet the whole time, and my gloves. And they were pretty much unusable the entire trip and just wasted space. And then finally, as they were strapped to the outside of my pack and collecting all that moisture in the air, they did accumulate more weight. So I couldn't use them, and they were accumulating water weight. It made for a not fun time. But what I did find out is that when I did have my wet socks, and this was a trick that I learned a while back for my contacts. I do wear contacts, and especially when it's cold outside and you put your contacts in the case in the morning, the last thing, one of the most uncomfortable things is putting in ice cold contacts. So what I had started doing was putting my contacts in my extra pair of socks, and I put them in my sleeping bag to keep them warm. So when I put them in the morning, they weren't cold. So I did that with my semi-wet socks, and they completely dried out. And I found I was with my body heat. When I had them close to my body heat, it warmed them up, and that worked better than just laying them flat or hanging them on my pack. So that was an interesting revelation. So when my stuff got wetted out, I held it closer to my body at nighttime. I put it like in the jacket pockets, stuffed it down the foot box. It actually dried out really, really well. So that was number 4, lessons learned on how to dry your stuff if it gets wet. And lesson number 5, the 5th thing I learned is I'm not an ultralight backpacker, and that's okay. And really kind of coming to terms with the fact that I'm not ultralight and that it's still okay, and I can be a successful hiker, a successful backpacker, and even a successful thru hiker here in the near future. So after tons of research, I had originally decided on the Z-Packs Arc Blast, and that's this pack right here, the one I brought on this trip. And I thought, after all my research, I thought this was the perfect pack for me. And then based on the online specs, it says online on Z-Packs website that it can carry up to 35 pounds, which I thought that's perfect. In reality, and based off reviews from other users, it really comfortably carries 25 pounds. It really starts to wear on the comfort level. What I found, because if you guys saw my last video, I ended up carrying an extra pair of rain pants, and I had an extra water carry one day. And for the first day when I first packed it, this was perfect, but it couldn't handle anything extra. So when I did have that extra water carry, when I did have the extra rain pants, it really did not handle it well. I could really feel the extra weight, and it had been filled to the brim as far as the actual volume. It had been filled to the brim when I started the trip, and then when I had the extra water carry, extra stuff, it really couldn't handle it. Everything was all squished together. It did not work out. Even with everything hanging off the sides of my pack, it just did not fit like I had originally planned. So I do love this pack, I really do. It's really for an ultralight backpacker, and that's not me. I do intend on keeping this pack for weekend trips, shorter trips, but as far as my thru hike, this is not going to be the pack that I use. So, say hello to my new pack. This is the Osprey Asia 58, and I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna take it out for a spin this upcoming weekend and see how it works out. Looking into this pack, I think this is gonna be a much better fit. It has the ability to carry more if I need it to. It's a little bit more as far as volume is concerned, and that is more what I'm looking for. So, super excited about trying out this new pack, and I'm feeling really good about this one. And as far as being an ultralight backpacker, I do have some pieces of gear that are ultralight, some that are just lightweight, some that are kind of in the middle. Like my Z-Packs Duplex, I absolutely love it. It is super lightweight. I've got my Enlightened Equipment Revelation, super lightweight. And then my sleeping pad, it's not ultralight. It's about 20 ounces for the extra comfort. I love my sleeping pad. It's not the X-Lite. It's not some of those super duper lightweight sleeping pads. And it's okay that it's not. I think it's more important to have the comfortability. No, I'm not saying it's gonna be an easy time if you have a 50-pound pack. Maybe it will be, maybe you won't be, but as far as being ultralight, I'm not there. I'm okay with just being a lightweight backpacker and a lightweight thru hiker. May change in the future, but as of right now, I'm cool with not being an ultralighter. So here is my Osprey, good old Osprey. I really am looking forward to this pack and seeing what's up with it. I'm really looking forward to using this new pack. I feel really good about it. All right, you guys, so that was 5 takeaways, 5 things that I learned from my shakedown. I think it's important to reflect on your trips when you're going backpacking, to learn new things, see what works, see what doesn't, and maybe some of these tips can help you guys on your own trips. All right, you guys, it's time for me to go, and I gotta get out of here and go plan a new adventure with all these new lessons I've learned. All right, you guys, bye.